If you had access to the money secrets of the top 1%, what would you do differently? Would you budget the same way? Spend the same way? Think about debt or investing the same way? Here's the thing. The 1% don't just make more money. They manage it differently. And today I'm going to be breaking down the exact habits and strategies that separate the financially free from the financially frustrated. I'm Reynold, and if you're new to my channel, I cover finance, tech, and productivity. Now, before I get started, I did notice that most people watching this channel aren't subscribed. So if you could do me a quick favor and hit that button, it really helps the channel and the algorithm. All right, let's jump in. So 9 ways that the wealthy manage their money. The first is that they paid themselves first. That's what wealthy people do. That's how they got wealthy. That means money goes into investments, savings, retirement, or real estate before it goes towards bills, rent, or Amazon orders. It's the opposite of how most people live, actually. Spend now, save what's left. The 1% builds wealth by making investing a priority, not an afterthought. So start with 10% or even 5%, but just get the habit started. Number 2, they track every dollar. Rich people respect their money. They know where it's going. And if they don't, eventually they don't stay rich for long. I'm talking to you, future athletes that's going to be broke, but tracking money is important to them. Whether they're using an app or a spreadsheet or even just a good old-fashioned notebook, they don't guess where their money is. They make data-driven decisions about spending. And everybody has their own way to do it, but as long as you're tracking it and you know what's coming in and what's going out, because you can't grow what you can't track. Number 3, they use budgets as tools. They don't think of it as a negative thing. I know it feels restrictive to say budget, but the 1%, a budget equals future freedom. It tells them how much they can spend guilt-free, how close they are to their goals, and how much runway they have. Budgets aren't about saying no. They're about giving powerful yeses to what matters most. Now, quick question. What's one thing that you would do differently today if you had a millionaire mindset? Drop that answer in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. I mean, based on the things that you're hearing so far, if there's like one of the things that stands out that you try to do today, what would that be? Number 4, the 1%, they build multiple streams of income. They don't just depend on their salary, their W-2, because people get laid off. And then what? So they have things like investments that produce dividends. They have royalties. They have businesses. They do consulting on the side. Multiple things that have you feel more secure if one of your main streams of income stops for whatever reason. This is just another form of, you could think of it like income diversity. Number 5, they use debt strategically. Bad debt is buying things that lose value. Good debt, it makes you money. The 1% understands this deeply. In other words, you could borrow to invest in property. So a mortgage, that could be good debt because your property is increasing in value. That is its equity. Or it could be debt to buy a business because it's going to, in the long run, ideally make you money if you're being strategic about it. But they don't go swiping credit cards irresponsibly. That's bad debt. They use leverage to create assets. So in short, it's not about avoiding all debt. It's about using good debt wisely. Number 6, they obsess over financial education. Now, while others are binge watching Netflix, the 1% is binging financial books, podcasts, YouTube channels like this one, where you're actually like learning about how to manage your money efficiently. If you ever read like books regarding specific entrepreneurs or successful business people, they're eventually going to mention books that they learned, like when they're talking about how they became successful, mentors that they've had. I always try to make it a note to jot down, like what books did they read? Okay, they mentioned that, then I'll go and read it myself. And I have like an efficient way of studying also, just to be a little sidetracking right now. Sometimes like some books might be really dense. There's an app called Blinkist, and it's book summaries, which summarizes books to like 15 to 30 minutes. And what I do is Any interesting book I come across, I'll go check to see if it's on Blinkist. I go through that and it's really interesting. Then I'll go for the Audible book and listen to that whole book and then try to take notes also and then try to pick out some things that I'm actually going to try to apply, just so I'm not like passively listening to audiobooks and then like not applying anything. Anyway, back to the list. Number 7, they invest consistently, even in down markets. The average person could get scared when the market drops, when the stock market crashes, but the 1%, they see an opportunity and they understand that the wealth is often built during recessions. They buy the dip. They invest consistently, not emotionally. They stick to a plan, dollar cost averaging. They have diversified portfolios and they think in the long term. They don't try to time the market. They spend time in the market. When the market crashes, it reminds me of Warren Buffett's quote, "Be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy." Number 8, they protect their assets. That's the point of building wealth. If you don't protect it, what's the point? The 1% has legal structures in place. They know how to use LLCs. They know how to use trusts, or at least get the right advisors to have trusts set up. They know how to handle estate planning. They're not paranoid because they're prepared. And they know the importance of all this because one lawsuit, one accident can just wipe out years of progress if assets are not protected. So if you want to think like the wealthy, you got to think about defense, not just offense. Number 9, they think long term, always. Most people think about their next paycheck, the 1%, they're thinking a decade ahead of time. They set goals 5, 10, 20 years ahead of time. They delay gratification. They invest with patience. The long-term mindset makes every short-term decision easier. Every dollar becomes a building block, not a throwaway. They think legacy. They think with longevity in mind. Managing money like the 1% isn't about luck or privilege. It's about just thinking differently. It's about having discipline to apply all these things that I've talked about. If you found this helpful, check out this video here too, and drop a comment below and let me know which one of these 9 habits are you going to start this month. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.